Hello, everybody. Malice here, lead developer of SoulsCraft, and joined with
And I am Nick, map
eh,
designer and slave driver.
Slave Driver. Absolutely. This is part two of our walkthrough for Souls Dev team.
And
Last
as you can
video,
see, we're right where we left off at Firelink Shrine. This
right?
is the sort of hub. This is the hub area. Dark Souls is an open world game, but it's designed in such a way that all of the areas feel like their own level. Like they're a directed linear, not linear, but like they're a well designed self-contained level, and
Yes,
Firelink Shrine serves as the hub for. It's connected to all the other areas of the game.
this is something that we're going to be utilizing in SoulsCraft.
Yeah, definitely.
So,
That cliff with the cemetery is going to serve as our hub, and all the other rest of the map is going to branch off of that in a similar way. Here you can see many examples of the ruined, old, decayed feel. Just that the entire game really has, except for a few areas, most of the entire game keeps with this theme of everything just being, you can tell it's just past its prime. It's
yes,
just nobody lives here anymore. Nothing's happening. It's just nature has reclaimed the buildings. And Firelink Shrine is probably the best example.
one of the best examples,
One of the yeah.
definitely. So you can see a lot of it's, like Nick said, reclaimed by nature. And so you have a lot of this moss and fungus and vines just all over the various structures.
Also note how doing a bit of exploring here, and Firelink Shrine is an area you think that it's not that big, that there's not that much to it, but there's a lot to explore. There's a lot of stuff. There's secrets. There's, as you can see here, this is a lift that you actually open up later on in the game. But if you drop down, like Alice just did,
Yes,
it leads to a little clearing where there's three
it's
chests
three
with items
chests.
and sweet
The
loots, and
loots,
epic loots.
the
And there's
loots.
just, yeah, and there's just so many little nooks and crannies to explore with hidden items, lots of, many of which you can actually see from, the
Distance.
ground
Mm-hmm.
from a distance, and you just think, it just gives you that feeling of that itch to explore, that itch to find out how you get that item. And
Yes.
it's definitely something definitely a feeling we're trying to replicate.
Not only replicate, but just really, really bring that out to the fullest. Here's another chest here. I believe this has Homeward Bones.
No, Lloyd's
Lloyd's
talismans.
Talisman. But we did find some. Here we have the Firelink Graveyard. It's not actually the name, but
The
one can.
entrance to the catacombs,
Yes.
which is a later area. We're probably not going to be taking this area on
Yes.
quite so soon.
These skeletons are actually very, very strong early on. As you can see, I'm not doing too much damage, and you know, I don't really have too much stamina to actually take these guys on. So, you know, it's very. I don't know why I'm still trying to go after these guys, but I guess I'm trying to show off. Oh, look, you see, I just parried and riposted, and I did a grand total of 46 damage. At this,
Usually riposts do hundreds of damage, but
yes, at
at
that
this
point,
early
I
stage in the game, these skeletons are a little too tough for us to take on. See, I don't know if you
absolutely,
saw it, but there was a little shiny item up on the wall there, and it just makes you wonder how you get there. You just have that itch. Just
yes,
an example of one of those times.
I am going to take my scrawny ass back to this bonfire, as those skeletons showed me who was the boss around these
Hey,
parts. And now we're going to sort of be getting into the Undead Burg, one of my favorite levels. Um, as you can see, this is the one of the passages over to the Undead Burg. There are a lot of shortcuts that you can open up through your gameplay, but never, never at first. You got to do some progression to do the shortcut opening.
and
And
Nexus, if you're watching, now you see why we were so amazed that you pulled off that bridge so
yeah,
perfectly. Because just look at this. Look at this bridge. It does it. I mean, you just captured that style without even like with us not even telling you that this.
Yeah, definitely the bottom part was Nexus's design, and he definitely pulled that off. So good job, Nick, or not Nick, but Jim. I can't believe I mixed you guys up. Although you guys both do good work on SoulsCraft Dev. Here we have a rat feasting on the body of a dead, and I actually got a humanity, which is it's kind of rare, as you got to farm that up. Humanity is sort of the currency of. Actually, no, it's not a currency. Not in Dark Souls. It's a way to sort of get to the PvP content. Also, give you a little bit of some buffs, and also
It's
kindle your
probably the
flames.
closest thing. Yeah, humanity in Dark Souls, humanity is probably closer to SoulsCraft souls than actual souls in Dark Souls. If
Yeah,
that makes any sense at all.
really, souls on Soulscraft is a combination of humanity and souls
Yeah.
in Dark Souls. I know that's a little tricky to follow, but it makes sense. And just think about it.
As the playthrough goes on, you'll probably understand more.
As you can
As you
see,
see,
we're sort of just looking around Undead Burg. As you can see, it's like surrounded by these very big walls. Oh Lord, I totally forgot of that guy right there. And just sort of frenzied up. Here we have like a nice little passage here, but we got some undead. I wonder where that firebomb came from.
somebody up on a roof, probably.
Yeah,
And it
I'm
may
getting a
not
little
look
bit
like it.
careless here.
Yeah. It may not look like it, but every single enemy in Dark Souls is hand placed. What I mean by that is the enemies are in predictable locations every time you go through the level. And you might think that that would make the game predictable and stale, but what it actually does is makes each level totally based on skill. There is very little luck in the combat in Dark Souls. It's all skill. You can, if you are a skilled player, you do not need armor. You can avoid all the damage. You know, it's very difficult. You're not going to do that on your first playthrough. You're probably going to want armor, but it's
Yes,
constructed in such a way that if you're skilled enough, you can avoid 100% of the damage. And it's just because every level and every enemy is just handcrafted, so finely tuned that it's just incredible how much detail they put into the level design.
absolutely. As you can see here, I'm sort of getting swarmed as the undead have sort of hid and ambushed me as I walk to this little bridge here. By the way, Dale, I don't know if you caught it or not, but there was a window over there. That could be something for glass.
Yes, yes.
Very, very subtle.
Window
And
frames on glass.
hmm
It's a good
here we
idea.
have a rusted-looking ladder, and here we're just gonna sort of look around after I grab this humanity, I believe. Yes, there's humanity there. Okay, as you can see,
And that,
there's sort of houses down there.
which are all part of the background. There, you'll notice there's a lot of that sort of thing, areas that you can see that look really detailed that you can't actually reach.
You know, if any of you hardcore Dark Souls fans out there are watching this, you'll see that this is this Undead Burg is actually inspired by a castle from Berserk. If you read that manga, so
I have not.
there is actually castle walls identical to that Undead Burg. And I just thought that was really cool, as I enjoyed Berserk very thoroughly, and I just love seeing those things just being recreated from the manga to one of the best games ever. So
Yes, yes,
it's a
yes.
very nice little present. Here we're proceeding. This is the white light. This sort of symbolizes progression through the game. That you're going the correct way.
Yes, indeed. And sometimes those fog doorways lead into a boss room that you can't
hmm
actually get out of once you enter. So every time you reach, when it's your first playthrough, every time you encounter a fog gate, it's kind of a point where you say, okay, am I ready to actually pass through this here? Because this could be a boss, and I could get my butt kicked.
That
And
could be
so it
something.
just serves as a sort of a checkpoint. Oh, now we have our first
Ooh,
encounter with the Bridge Wyvern. He's a drake
a
in the
drake.
world. Because remember,
I,
there are no dragons left. They were all destroyed by, well, not all of them, but as we'll see later. But most of them were destroyed by Gwyn and his followers.
yeah, I
Here,
really
look
hate
here.
that drake.
Yeah, he's an ass.
He's a bitch. He's so stingy with that giant ridge right there that we're going to be getting onto shortly. Probably not in this video. Oh, here we have a very tricky situation for most new players. You're gonna probably die at this area if you haven't already died to the bitch Drake, as he sometimes auto kills new unsuspecting players. Uh, but yeah, as you can see, I'm sort of maneuvering around the environment, sort of going in and getting hits. I'm not just going in there and tanking everything. I'm being very calculative. Actually, I was being more.
Calculative.
I was being a little reckless, but trying to be entertaining while I fight. But if I were really serious, I would be taking these enemies at a more slower pace, more calculated uh, pace. Here we can see more of the Undead Burg. You know, Dale, if you saw that roof there, that bluish roof, that could be something for brick, maybe.
Really pay attention to how there are no lines that you can predict in this. Every building is sort of at its own angle, and it
Mm-hmm.
just looks like the whole city sort of organically sprang up. There are no white picket fences with, rows and rows of houses. Everything is really dynamic,
Mm-hmm.
and there's nothing looks like a box. And we definitely that's and one thing that we have on the server that really captures that exact same feeling really well is the monumental castle build, the castle town. That's why I like that town so much, because it really captures that same feeling of nothing really being predictable, nothing being square, everything's dynamic. Looks like it
Yes.
sprang up organically. So really pay attention to that. Really
You'll
try to
you'll
replicate
see
that.
you'll see more of that in Uasil. As you can see, we are at the end of this video, and I've hoped that you guys really gotten a sort of inspiration for your builds. Um, but we will continue the series, and we will see you in the next video. Thanks for your watching.
Take care.